Do you need Jesus? It's the question that I'm posing this morning because it's the question that woke me just a couple days ago and left a pit in my stomach. I know the answer to that question when I'm in crisis, and that question is always answered with a yes. And I hope that I know that answer when I'm at my highest of highs is yes as well. But you see, that day I wasn't waking with a notable crisis, and I wasn't in a moment where we were celebrating a super high. It was just the mundane. It was the day-to-day. It's where I spend most of my life. It was somewhere between the valley and the mountaintop. And that pit drove me to a passage that I know really well, but it's a passage rich with teachings by and about Jesus, and that was Mark 6. I went to Mark 6, and in it, I read about how Jesus fed the 5,000. Well, to be honest, he had fed some 20,000 people because back then we didn't count women and children in the crowd. But these people had walked for miles just to hear Jesus teach. And at the end of that period, they had, not worried about dinner, not left. They were just hanging on every word. And Jesus had compassion on them, knew they needed to eat, and so he asked for the disciples to give them some food. They only had menial resources. They had 5 loaves and 2 fish. Jesus prayed and he broke that bread and gave it away. At the end of which, it says that all these people had eaten till they were satisfied, and then they took up extra baskets overflowing with food. The people were amazed. This miracle hearkened them to remember something they'd been taught in their Israeli history, and that was that their ancestors, their forefathers, had eaten food from heaven called manna while they were walking in the wilderness waiting to attain the promised land after coming out of 400 years of oppression by the Egyptians. That was an amazing story. So they know about God providing them food, and they also have the promise of a Messiah who's going to come one day, and he's going to not only redeem them, but he's going to allow them to rule alongside him as royalty the entire earth. So the people are ecstatic. They're excited. They have found their king. They believe in this person, Jesus, that he has been their awaited Messiah. Some people have already claimed that. And so they want to take him and throw him on their shoulders and walk him into Jerusalem to overthrow Roman rule. They want to walk him in on a ticker tape parade and give him the throne. And the interesting thing that grabbed my heart, the thing that grabbed my mind, was at this high of high point where people are celebrating Jesus and they're singing his praise. He does something really interesting. In Mark 6, verse 45, it says, immediately Jesus made his disciples get into the boat and go ahead of him to Bethsaida, while he dismissed the crowd. Now, I don't know about you, but if people want to sing my praise and celebrate me, I'm not likely to stop them. I've let people honor me for far less, like people say kind things to me and my wife when we're celebrating multiple years of marriage. People send me kind words or presents to open because they want to honor me for the day that I was born. And yet, Jesus actually did something here. He did something miraculous, and the people, his disciples included, want to know how he did it, and they want to celebrate him and make him king. And Jesus sends them all away. Instead of embracing the praise of the people, it says he does something in verse 46. It's fascinating. It says immediately he sends the people away, and after leaving them, he went up the mountainside to pray. He went to be with his Father and to be alone with him. And some say that he was up on top of that mountain for the next 12 hours, just seeking solace, just spending time in the presence of the Father and praying for you and for me. Man, I think about that, and I think the Father was where Jesus went, but then the gift of the Father, Romans 6 tells us, was Jesus. That the Father gifted us Jesus, and we, just like he went to the Father, can go to him. And so that pit in my stomach started to loosen because I started to recognize that my need, just sitting in his presence and soaking in the richness of who he is, started to relieve and fill the need that I have daily if I'll just recognize it and if I'll just accept said invitation. So this morning, I want to encourage you at the end of your week as you're looking towards your weekend, and some of us have weekends now that are even busier than our weekdays. I want to encourage you to answer the pit and to answer said question. Do you need Jesus? This weekend could be filled with extreme highs. Your week may have been filled with extreme lows, and maybe you're incredibly cognizant of your need for Him right now, but maybe you're just like me and you're somewhere in between, and I want to tell you that doesn't make your need any less. Today you need Him. I encourage you to gather at His feet and just soak in the love of Jesus and pray, seek Him. Ask about the things that He desires for you. Ask about who He wants you to love on this week. And just ask Him in the Scriptures about who He is as opposed to who you're not. This week as a church, I'm looking forward to doing that together. We're going to soak in the Scriptures. We're going to celebrate Him in song on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock at Mt Juliet, 10:45 at Two Rivers. We're going to do that online, and we are going to celebrate as a church the one who was given to us as a gift. Because we know we need Jesus, we're going to celebrate time at Jesus' feet as He reveals what He has for us, who He is, and how we can look more like Him as we walk into our next week. So this week, church, I want to encourage you. Find that time of rest, take that invitation, and answer the need that you and I both have. We need Jesus. Will you go to Him this week? Will you go to Him even this morning and let Him fulfill you, sustain you like only He can? I'll see you Sunday.